Hey, welcome back to Mill Yard. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and we are finally getting to work on, geez, I'm going to fall down, the equipment shed for the sawmill. I got a bunch of orders out of here this morning, got paid for them. I still have a couple to go. I got one to drop off tomorrow, and my mill yard's going to be pretty much cleaned up so I can get back to cutting. So I thought it'd be a good day to try to clean up some of the 2x4s I've cut and put some of this frame together. So what we're working with here is it's going to be an 8x10 equipment shed. It'll be 10 feet this way. Down this end, there'll be a 2-foot wide bench, which is where my sharpening equipment is going to go. A window looking up towards the house. Pretty cool little window. You'll see it a little later. And the front side here is going to have a window and a door. I think it's going to be a 12 pitch. I'm not going to do Pythagorean theorem in my head, but it's going to be 4 over, 4 up. It'll be like a 12 pitch. I will put a metal roof on it. I am going to sheathe it and put a metal roof on it. Full inch sheathing on the roof and then metal roof on top of that. So it's not going to be just like rafters with purlins and then a metal roof. It's actually going to be sheathed. I think my plan is I'm going to do board and batten on it. And my plan is to put a small wood stove in the corner, something really small, and be able to burn some of the scraps out here in the wintertime and have a warm place, plus be able to do my sawmill bands out here. I will run power out here and also house all my sawmill equipment inside that shed. Everything that I use every day that kind of sits out now will go in the shed. Plus, it'll be a cool place for Danny to hang out. I'm a little undecided on what I'm going to do on the front side of this right now. I mean, in the future, I think I want to build just a little platform porch. I might just do it like a little lean-to style, kind of like a woodshed. So build a porch, set it in front, a little lean-to roof that kind of sits under. I haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, I might put a little porch on the front. Something that if I do want to move the shed. Now, this shed was made, if you didn't watch the series, watch the series on putting the base together. I'm sorry about the air compressor firing off there. But if you watch the series on putting the base together, the way that we designed this was that it can be picked up and moved around with the Bobcat. We put a very, very heavy double beam in the center with a bottom plate on it so that the forks, even my pallet forks, will reach halfway in. And then you could strap it off with straps, with big ratchet straps, and pick it up and move it. Or I do have access to long forks that I can throw on there and just fork underneath it and be able to move it. However, I think this is going to be its final resting place. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to snap this first wall together. It's all lumber that we milled here. And I'm using up some of my scraps and stuff like that. Anything that's offside is going to go on as a stud because it will be exposed studs on the inside. So I'm putting everything flush to the outside for the board and batten. I'll take you over, give you a look at it, give you an idea of what I'm doing. I got Danny over there. Danny's hunting squirrels through the trees over there. So this will be the outside of this one wall. It's not going to have any windows or anything like that. These will all be flush to the outside. I will put a row of blocking through the middle, but I'm going to wait on that because as I'm gathering up my waste over here from cutting stuff, that will become blocking and also jack studs and cripple studs and stuff like that for the window frame and the door frame and everything. So I think I want to get it all framed first, and I'll go in and shoot the blocking. And after, and blocking will be flush to the outside, and that'll just be when I do board and batten, I'll do vertical, and it'll give me a center spot to nail it off. So nothing fancy. Like I said, that wall will have a window in the middle right over my workbench. I'll have a 2-foot workbench on the wall. Probably have my chainsaw grinders out here too, plus my band mill grinder. I am going to shoot this together with 3 1/4 nails right now. And then I will go around with 4-inch screws and just throw a screw in the middle of every one. And it's always a good idea if you're ever standing up walls, Or if you're building modular and you're putting your walls together kind of off-site. And I've done that too. I've built pretty big sheds, all modular, so off-site, so that we could move them to, I'm just going to see what your view looks like. So we could move them to it, an eventual home. And whenever you're doing that, if you're going to be picking up walls with a lull or anything like that, it's always a good idea to throw a screw in them, because the nails do not hold. They don't hold this way. Okay, the screws hold this way but don't have any shear. Nails have mega shear but don't hold this way. So if you're going to be standing up walls, especially by yourself, it's always a good idea to throw a screw in the middle of each one. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot it together. I'll throw a screw in each one. We'll stand the thing up. We'll brace it off. And then we'll go on to the other wall. And I'll pause you as much as I can as I go. So I'm trying to use up the last of my 3 1/4 here before I break in a new box. The base came out really square. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to flush these up. I've already got them marked out. I marked them both together so they're identical. It helps if you're trying to square stuff up, again, and you're by yourself. That really helps squaring stuff up. So I can kind of see my marks. I'm just flushing up the outside, shoot one in the top, just kind of make sure it's square. This one's an off-size stud, so I'm just going to split the difference. The studs don't matter width-wise if they're all the same. They just matter, I'm sorry, thickness-wise. They just matter width-wise. That's for square. I do have double lines on this. I didn't need it, but sometimes you'll have one that's a little bit different thickness, and it give you a best of both worlds to be able to split the difference. So get this end one in. The end ones need to be flush. And if you cut all your components well and you flush everything up, you got a real good shot at getting a nice square. You won't have as much trouble squaring things up. So you're going to come shoot it together on the other side. Then we'll throw some screws in it. And move your view really quick so my back's not to you. I did find that tarping this deck was not a good idea. If you got a lot of moisture on it, I will not tarp it again. I'll let it sit out in the sun. I don't care if it rains on it. This whole deck here, I shiplapped in the field, and I shiplapped it so that the mice can't get in. So as these boards shrink, there'll be no gaps. And my only goal right now is to flush it to the outside. It doesn't have to be, with rough sawn lumber like this, it doesn't have to be anything perfect. It's just always a good idea. Just good building practice when you're doing it. The more flush and square that you get everything, the fewer workarounds you need. There are always going to be workarounds. Nice. Especially when you're working by yourself. When you're working by yourself, it's always good. Try and get everything square, flush, and plumb. Now, I do prefer to work up on sawhorses most of the time. If you hear anything bombing in the background, it's acorns falling. So like, when I'm working on walls, if I'm doing, let's say, I was working with my friend Craig on his building, doing Larson trusses for his timber frame, and I built everything up on sawhorses, and then we ended up picking it with the wall and putting it in. It's always nice to work at waist high when you can, especially if you got equipment to move stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause you guys for 1 second, whip around, throw in some screws, and, and I'll be right back. I'm going to throw a screw in that brace that's on the ground right there, so when I lean it up, I have something to brace off to. So, sorry. I'm going to pause you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get it stood up here. Just got to get some things where I can grab onto them. So I have my screw gun on my hip. Hopefully I don't bang into anything that's going to knock you guys off. I have my brace here screwed off on the bottom. Just going to stick something under it so when I come up, hopefully I don't knock that over. I can grab onto it. Got my level here. And I got a couple of blocks on the outside out there to push it up against. And when I put this in, I'm only going to screw it. I'm only going to screw it down. Reason being, when you build your other walls, it's always a good idea to have some wiggle room. You try and build other walls in between walls that are already up. It's good to have a little bit of wiggle room, so if you just screwed down, then you can just kind of grab them real quick. Okay, just gotta get this thing over just a little bit. That looks pretty good right there. Just get flush to the outside. That looks pretty good right there. I'm just going to go ahead and throw a screw in it right there. And you can come back later with timber locks. It's pretty flush both sides right now. Yeah, it's hitting the other end too. All right, I'm going to plumb this thing up. I'm still getting used to this new tool belt, so I'm trying as hard as I can to look like I know what I'm doing. So let's see about where it's going to be. And then I'll start a screw in this. Somewhere close, like right there. So that means I need a screw kind of right here. All right, and let's just kind of plumb it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so that one's braced off there for now. I think I'll just leave it like that. And maybe off camera I'll put another brace on the other side. And now we get ready to do the other end. So I got to do some cutting. I'm going to cut all the components, mark out the window, get all the studs cut, get it all laid in here, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes. The other good thing about doing braces this way is when you stand this wall up, it gives you something to go against too. Sometimes it helps. So I'm going to pause you guys, and I'll be back in a few. See what we got going on. Oh, look at, got a helper. All right, so real quick, I'm going to show you my my layout for my window. So what we have here is I've marked both of my bottom plate and one of my top plates. There'll be a double on this later, but I marked them both. That's the bottom plate facing out, so I mark it bottom out, and that one is the top plate facing out, and that's on this side. And then I did my layout, so basically we have a stud on the end, same as that one. I came over to my layout line, but what I need here, and I always call these in a window, king, a queen, and a jack. So you need a common. Your king stud's going to go all the way up to the height of your header. And then actually you're going to have I'm sorry, the king stud's going to go full height. Okay. Your queen stud's going to go up to the height of your header. You'll have a cripple on the top. And then you're going to have a jack that goes under up until your sill. And you'll have nothing here. You've got a jack height, which is the same as this one, up to your sill. These will be angled so the sill sits at an angle. And then you got a queen going up to your header. That sets the width of your window. And a king stud to nail it to next to it. And I had to put a common in, I believe, because of my layout. So I have a common stud here for my 2-foot layout. So I had to put a common in on both sides because this right here, I think, is my 2-foot. Just double check that, because if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't need it. Okay, yeah, so I would have missed my 2-foot on center here. Well, it technically would have been 2-foot on center. It just would not have matched the other side. There's no reason it needs to. So yeah, actually I am still 2-foot on center here. I don't need this common right here. I was thinking that this was going to throw my layout off. It throws my layout off compared to that side. And if I was using sheets of plywood or something and I needed that to be 2-foot to this line, I would have to put this in. But I don't need to. I can leave these two commons out. I'm going to take them out. And I could always add them later. Actually, that'll make it easier to nail in this queen to the header. That'll make that simpler. Actually, it wouldn't be a problem because I nail through the queen. So maybe I'll put that in later. I don't think I need it. I think I still got 2 feet on center from there to here, and because it's going to be board and batten, that's not going to cause a problem. The only thing is that second stud in on both sides is not going to line up with the stud on this side, which isn't going to make any difference because the rafters are going to go this way. So that doesn't make any difference. The only place it would make a difference would be on the front and the back, that the studs lined up so that the rafters can fall over a load-bearing stud. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave this common stud out. I don't think I need it because I still have, like I said, instead of, I've still got a 24-inch center. Damn, these are out. Instead of from the outside to 24 each way here, which is where, this is where the stud is on that one. just because of the way it had to lay out, where you're going from offside to offside on an 8-foot run. I laid them out on centers and then went inch so that it ends up even. But on this case, if I go from the center of that end stud, that's right in the middle of my king. So I don't need this common. So I'm going to leave it out. So I only need 1, 2, 3, 4 full-length studs. So I'm going to cut 4 studs at 7'6", which is 2-inch bottom plate and a 4-inch double top plate gives me my 8-foot height. So I'm cutting my studs at 7'6". So I got to cut a bunch of studs at 7'6", or 4 of them anyway, not too many. And then we will nail this thing together, and I can stand it up. We'll see. I got to work out my workbench height so I get my window height right, but maybe we'll put the whole thing together down. I'll lay it all out down, and we'll put the whole thing together down, and then nail it all together and then stand it up. So I'm going to put you guys back on pause for a minute while I cut some studs. All right, so let me show you what I did. I went ahead and shot and screwed it together just so you guys didn't have to watch that. All flush to the outside. I set my window height 36 inches for a workbench and then 4 inches just in case I end up trimming it out. So it's at 40 to the bottom. Put in my header. I'm going to wait on my sill. I want to get the angle worked out, and I can do that all afterwards. I can actually almost do that after when I'm sheathing it. So I just want to get my sill angled and cut my jacks on the bottom at that same angle. I'll put the 3 jacks in and then just set the sill on top of it. Got my width plus a quarter, my height plus, I'll set my height plus a quarter. I actually put the window in there to set the sill, then put a bump strip against the back side. I'm going to have it so that the window can open one way or the other. I haven't figured that out yet. I think I'll have it flush to the front to the trim and then have it open in. And so I got to get my angle on my sill right, or I have to cut a flat and then and plane an angle on a sill, so that any water that comes down on the outside will sheet off the sill and not come in through the window, because all I have is a window, so I actually have to build one. It's all in. It's pretty beefy. I've got my blocks in the bottom here. We're going to go ahead and stand this one up, screw it down, get it braced off, and then I am probably going to get the rest of my 2x4s over here. I might even frame the back wall, but that won't be on this video for you guys. One thing that you want to do when you're working with rough sawn lumber, on your sills, make sure that your sills are all consistent thickness. Okay, so when you look at all the lumber that's here, there's a bunch of different thicknesses here. Not significantly different, but different. Just got to make sure that your sills match, so that your elevation is going to match. And then if you cap your sill with a double plate, your plate with a double plate, you got to make sure that's the same thickness too, so it doesn't affect your roof line or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and stand this thing up. Hopefully you guys are still listening. I got Danny's laying over there in the bobcat bucket. I got a brace in here. I got some blocks on the end. It's going to be a little bit heavy, but I don't think it'd be bad. Got my gun on my side. Can't say gun. I got my screw gun on my side. My level ready to go. And, oh, nope, Danny's right here, laying on the top. Hi, Danny. He's getting ready. He wants his playhouse. So let's see if I can get a hold of this thing. There we go. Ugh. Okay. So what I want to do is I just want to kick this out to there. Wow. Holy shit. It's flush. Oh my God. It's like perfect. I gotta do something about this right now. Oop, hit my head on the header. That's why they call it a header. You can kick that way just a hair. Oh, don't fall down. That's perfect. Whoa, don't fall down. Okay, it's good right there. Just going to throw a screw in to hold it. Oh, and it did work out. I was right. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was right that I did, to have that 24-inch center, I did need that other common stud. I didn't put it in just because it's so beefy. I didn't think it needed it. And it's just a shed. So let's go ahead and get this thing up here. This is white oak. Just grabbed it out of my pile. Now one of the reasons that you screw this thing down is when you go to put in, oh, I should have put a screw in this. When you go to put in, all right, if I had a clamp with me, that would be good. When you go to put in to build your middle wall sections, if you're a little tight standing them up, you can always go ahead and unscrew them and move them just to give yourself some room. You can always unscrew that one end. So like only put like 3 screws in the base until you're done. When you're done, then you can go around with timber locks. Once this is all 4 walls are knocked together and you got your top plate on, you can go ahead and just timber lock the whole thing down. Okay, see if I can. Right there. Okay, that's good. I'll just go ahead and make sure this other side's flush and then just throw a screw in it and then throw one in the middle. Yeah, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Just throw one screw in the end here, throw one screw in the middle, and then when you guys are off camera, I will throw a brace on this side like I did earlier on the other side. Throw one in the middle where the jack stud is not going to be. Okay. And I'll throw one more brace on that and go grab some more 2x4s and get on to one of these walls. Now, this gets it's good that I'm not putting the double top plate on it to begin with, because if I did, I'd have to take the braces out to do it on the deck. That 2 inches will give me enough room to be able to have this laid down, sitting on the deck. I could scoot it that way a little bit and lean it off the end. Just makes it harder to attach that bottom. You could attach the bottom and then shove it over a little bit and then pull it back when you stand it up. But yeah, there's no window going in there. The only complicated wall is going to be this front wall. As far as having the window here and the door here, it's actually going to be just a mishmash of stuff. I think I'm going to be close on studs. I might have to cut some more, but I'll give you guys a backed up view out of it. I did do a double header there. I usually don't in sheds, but matter of fact, if I'm doing even Larson trusses on a timber frame, I don't do a double either. It doesn't really need it. It's non-structural. But you can see, if you see that gap right there, it's just because these 2 pieces with different thicknesses. So it's flush on the outside. It's just not hitting right here. I hemmed and hawed about putting that on its side, and I said if I put it on its side, somebody's going to gripe about it because it's on its side instead of up and down. And then, to be honest with you, I think it should have been on its side, but they're all nailed into the outside of that. That's way more than sufficient. There's no rafters coming down that way because the rafter's going to run the other way. So I'll back you up like this. Get a good look over here. Oh, there's Danny. Hi, Danny. So yeah, that will end up being a window. And then there'll be a door right here, and then there'll be a window I don't know if it'll be the same height or not, but it's going to go over there. And then maybe I'll build myself a little platform porch out here. If you want to know why I didn't put the porch on before, it's because it needs to be able to be moved. So the porch is going to have to be, I can screw it to it, but it's going to have to be so that it can be moved, so the shed can be moved. That's the whole purpose of building the shed, so it could be mobile. So yeah, that's it. When I do my double top plate, I'll actually half lap all the corners so it's all tied together all the way around. And I'm going to pull some more 2x4s over here and start laying out that back wall, which would just be simple stud framing. I don't think normally in a house, or say something more significant than a shed, I would double that or even space it off so that I had a full nailer there for the 2x4 that's going to be sitting this way, or sheetrock base for this side of that 2x4 that's going to be sitting this way, and I would space it off. But I don't think I need to here. I think I can just nail it on that outside, and it's going to be way more than sufficient. Yeah. Plus, one of the reasons I didn't go like 6x6 corner posts and stuff like that is I didn't want to take a foot from the inside of the shed. No, it's going to be fairly roomy, I think. That 2-foot bench over there, I think, is going to eat up a little space. But for a shed, and if I do a 12 pitch, it'll be this way. There would be pretty significant rafter space in there too, for a loft up there. Yeah, rafters are going this way. So yeah, that's it for today. Danny and I appreciate the watch. Hope it wasn't too slow and cumbersome. I'm just kind of trying to take it easy today and not kill myself with everything I'm going through with my hip and all that shit. So um, I always appreciate the watch, and I will shoot more videos as I go here when we do the rafters. And the next time that you see this, you might see me milling and see it not done, but the next time you guys see the shed, all 4 walls will definitely be up, and maybe we'll be doing the rafters. So I am testing out a new pair of Mechaix gloves. I don't know if everybody's going to stay on this long, but they sent me another pair. I got 2 pairs I'm testing. I've been beating the crap out of this pair here. These are prototype gloves. They've shown no signs of wear. They're doing really, really well. The thing I like about these gloves, if you're working just day to day, is they slip on and slip off really well. These ones are nice, snug fitting. They just sent me these. It says that they had a name on them, Utility Pro, and also the fingertips work on the phone. That's kind of neat. And they got some rubbery stuff in the palm here. These are pretty interesting. It's the first time I've worn them. I have been wearing the crap out of these milling and doing firewood and stuff like that. And these hold up really nice. They dry quick. They just slip on and slip off. So I'll keep you updated on the Mechaix wear. I know I haven't been talking about it a whole lot, but I want them to see it. And they won't let me do a standalone video yet because these are all prototypes. So because I can't really tell you, models and all that crap and cost or anything. So my job for Mechaix is to beat the crap out of them and give them feedback on what I think. So kind of cool. These nice, snug, tight fitting, no problem grabbing screws, no problem grabbing nails, shooting nails, loading the gun, holding things flush. I did that whole thing with them on the whole time, cutting everything. So they're comfortable. I'd work with them. I did like the pair that I had before that I already wore out. But for you guys, you have any questions, hit me up. Suggestions, if you want to say, no, you're doing it all wrong. No, you don't know what you're doing. Go ahead, try that one. And for now, Inspired Solutions out.